How Divorce Harms Children by George Watson. Introduction. In this slideshow, I will present the different ways in which divorce negatively affects children. With the divorce rate rising to nearly 50% in the United States over the last 60 years, nearly half of all children in America no longer live with both genetic parents. There are myriad reasons why divorce has significant negative impacts on children, such as a sharp decline in mental health, increase in high risk/antisocial behavior, higher propensity for substance abuse, poor academic performance, and prevalence of step parent abuse. These results show a direct causality between parental separation and the negative outcomes for children of divorce. Decline in mental health. Divorce can lead to depression and anxiety in children. In fact, children whose parents divorce exhibit higher levels of anxiety and depression than children whose parents remain married. This is because divorce is most often a traumatic experience that leaves children feeling guilty, hopeless, and abandoned. Along the same lines, the fact that children may end up believing that their parents' divorce was their own fault provides further insight into the causes of depression and anxiety amongst children of divorce. This is illustrated by the fact that limited contact with one parent can cause feelings of distress in a child, and a sudden change of routine and stability in a household directly impacts the child's mental health. Risky behavior. The depression and anxiety experienced by children of divorce most often manifests itself in antisocial behavior. Children who grow up in unstable households experience higher rates of sexual promiscuity and typically begin to engage in sexual activity at a significantly younger age than their peers from stable family environments. This is due to the fact that, having watched the failure of their own parents' marriage, children of divorce are much more likely to expect the same for themselves and therefore have several sexual partners compared to children whose parents stayed together. Similarly, abnormal levels of brain chemicals such as serotonin and dopamine, often the result of mental health disorders, can manifest as high-risk behaviors for children without healthy psychological adaptations searching for coping mechanisms. Teen pregnancy. Depending on the age at which divorce occurs, girls with an absentee father are 3 to 8 times more likely to experience teen pregnancy. They are also much more likely to take an oppositional stance against the authority of their parents. This is because divorce can cause children to see a parent in a limited capacity or even not at all, which diminishes their bonding abilities and therefore affects their sense of security and attachment, which can bring into question the authority of their parents. Pregnant adolescents reported lower mother-daughter and father-daughter communication, lower levels of life satisfaction and happiness in general, and more school and economic difficulties. They also experience higher levels of depression and sexual abuse than their non-pregnant peers. Substance abuse. Children of divorce have a significantly higher risk of substance abuse than those of non-divorced parents. More specifically, the dissolution of a relationship between parents and/or their divorce has been shown to increase the risk of alcohol dependence for children who live through the experience. Furthermore, in a 1993 survey on child health, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services states that fatherless children are at a dramatically greater risk of drug and alcohol abuse. Other studies suggest that children without fathers are as high as 10 times more likely to abuse chemical substances, and 71% of all children who abuse substances come from fatherless homes. Decline in academic performance. The aforementioned factors caused by divorce, such as stress and anxiety, and the corresponding results of maladaptive and antisocial behavior, can lead children to become distracted at school and cause them to struggle academically. The extreme changes happening at home can lead to decreased homework completion, lack of studying, and difficulty concentrating in class. Emotional outbursts in school are also common with younger children of divorce. Similarly, a child may have to switch schools or school districts due to a change in living arrangements caused by divorce, which often introduces more stress and anxiety for the child, which in turn results in academic struggles. The impact divorce has on a child's academic performance cannot be understated. One large international study found that parental divorce has higher educational consequences for children than parental death. This is because the consequences of divorce strongly depend on the resources available in a family, while the effects of parental death are mitigated by educational and welfare policies. This shows how significant of a toll divorce can take on a child's mental and emotional health. The Cinderella effect. It is crucial to note that negative outcomes on children of divorce are not strictly limited to mental and emotional health. The Cinderella effect refers to the increased risk of step parent abuse towards non biological children. Studies show that children living with a step parent or a parent's significant other are significantly more likely to experience abuse than those living with both biological parents. Research indicates that children in these blended families are 40 times more likely to be abused than those living with their biological parents. Even more horrific, a separate study found that an American child living with one genetic parent and one step parent is 100 times more likely to suffer fatal child abuse than a child living with two genetic parents. The reason for this phenomenon is attributed to evolutionary factors, where step parents or any non-biological parental figures may lack the inherent biological drive to nurture and protect non-biological offspring. In conclusion, divorce has a profound and far-reaching negative effect on children, impacting their mental health, behavior, academic performance, and physical safety. From increased rates of depression and anxiety to heightened risks of substance abuse and teen pregnancy, children of divorced parents face startling and often heartbreaking challenges that can have long-term repercussions and can cause irreparable damage. The presence of step parents further exacerbates these risks, with children in blended families being at a much higher risk of abuse. Understanding these impacts affirms the importance of marriage and highlights the many ways in which staying together virtually guarantees a healthier, more functional, and safer environment for children than divorce. The end.